Question number 15. A damped single degree of freedom system is vibrating under a harmonic excitation with amplitude ratio of 2.5 at resonance condition. We have to find the damping ratio for the system. We know that the amplitude ratio is given by 1 divided by 1 minus r square whole square plus 2er square, where r is the omega divided by omega n. Omega is the frequency at which the system is vibrating and omega n is the natural frequency of the system. In resonance condition, r is equal to 1. It means the system is vibrating at its natural frequency. So omega equal to omega n. So r will be equal to 1. So x1 by x2 amplitude ratio will be equal to, after putting this value, we will get 2e at the resonance condition. We have to find the value of e, 1 by 2, and this is the amplitude ratio which is given 2.5. So we will get 1 by 5 which is equal to 0.2. So the damping ratio will be equal to 0.2. This will be the correct answer. Question number 17. The channel section of a uniform thickness 2 mm with shear modulus of 25 GPa, which is subjected to a torque of 10 Newton meter. We have to find the twist per unit length in radian meter. These all dimensions are in millimeters. We know that the torsion formula is equal to T by J, G theta by L, tau by R, and we have to find twist per unit length, where torsion is given. J we have to find for the section. For the thin walled open section, J is given by summation of S T cube by 3, where S is the parameter and T is the thickness. So for the given section, J will be equal to 1 by 3. We have to add the parameter 300 plus 600 plus 300. We will get 1200, and thickness for all the section is uniform, 2 cube 3200 millimeter की power 4. So from this formula we can find theta by L equal to T divided by G into J. T is given 10 Newton meter in millimeters. G is given 25 GPa, which is equal to 25 into 10 की power 3 in Newton per millimeter square, into we have to multiply by J. After solving this, we get the value of 1.25 into 10 की power minus 4 radian millimeter, but we have to give the answer in radian per meter. So 1 minus 4 multiplied by 10 to the power 3 need radian per meter. So answer will be 0.125 radian per meter. Question number 18. The stiffened cross section of a long, slender, uniform structural member which is idealized, and these are the lumped area, and all the area are the same, 3 centimeter square, and the thickness is also uniform, 5 millimeters, and these are the dimension of this box type structure. which is subjected to a torque of 10 kilonewton meter. We have to find the shear flow in these thin walls. So this is the problem of the thin walled closed section which is subjected to a torsion. So the shear flow will be same in all the walls, and the torque is given by summation of 2, and this is the closed area and shear flow. Area can be calculated by simply 500 into 200 millimeter square, and we can find the shear flow T divided by 2A area of this closed section, and the torque is 10 kilonewton meter. So in millimeter, 10 into 10 to the power 6 divided by 2 into 500 into 200, which is the area. We will get the value of 15 Newton per millimeter. In kilonewton per meter, the shear flow in these thin walled structure will be same, which is equal to 50 kilonewton per meter in all these walls. Question number 39. A composite circular shaft which is made up of steel core, and there is a outer material which is aluminum, and the shaft is subjected to a torque of T. We have to choose the correct answer. When the shaft is subjected to a torque of T, as the shaft is a composite shaft, so they will be perfectly bonded with each other. For example, let's say this is an imaginary line. When the composite shaft is subjected to a torque, what will happen? It will twist. For example, this line will come after some time to this location. So the angle of twist theta will remain same for the steel core and the aluminum outer ring. So it means that the shear strain will remain same. Angular deformation will remain same for both the materials. Shear strain will remain same, but shear stress depends on the shear modulus. As they are different material, so the shear modulus will be different, and we know that the shear stress divided by G will be equal to shear strain. From this formula, shear stress will be equal to shear strain multiplied by shear modulus. However, the shear strain is same for both the material, but the shear modulus is different. So the shear stress in aluminum will not be equal to shear stress in steel. So if we draw the shear stress variation for a torsion, we will find that shear stress, as we know, it increases linearly up to the outer point of the steel material. There would be a discontinuous change. Either the shear stress in the aluminum is larger or maybe lesser, then it will linearly increase up to the outer ring of the aluminum material. So there is a discontinuous change in shear stress. Angular deformation will remain continuous for both the material, but shear stress is not. So the option B will be the correct answer. Only the shear strain is continuous across the steel and aluminum interface. Question number 41. In the steel structures, the value of Young modulus is given 200 gigapascal, and the circular cross section of radius 10 mm. The column is hinged at both the ends D and B. We have to find the minimum load P for which the column will buckle. For that, we have to find the load which is acting at point B due to this load P. So for this, let's assuming the reaction at support A is Ra and the reaction at support B is Rb, and there is a load of P. The point A is hinged point, so we will solve for the reaction by using the equation of static equilibrium. Summation of all the vertical forces is equal to 0. So Ra plus Rb will be equal to P. This is the first equation. Now we will take the moment about point A due to the load and the reaction. So summation of moment about A will be equal to 0 because this is a hinge point. So it will not resist any moment due to the load. So P into 2, we are taking clockwise positive and anti-clockwise negative. P into the length 2 minus Rb into 1 will be equal to 0. So from here Rb is equal to 2P. So the column B and D will be subjected to a load of 2P as Rb is acting upward, so the reaction at point B will be downward, so which is equal to 2P. And we know the Euler buckling load formula, which is equal to pi square E I upon L square effective length square. But for the hinged boundary condition, effective length is equal to length of the column, which is equal to 2 meter, and the value of I for a circular cross section will be equal to pi by 64 into diameter की power 4. Radius is 10 meter, radius is 10 mm, so diameter will be 20 की power 4. So I will be equal to 7853.9816 millimeter power 4. This is the Euler buckling load. So the load which is acting actually at the point B and D will be equal to 2P pi square into E is given 200 gigapascal, then in Newton per millimeter square, I 7853.9816 divided by length, which is 2 meter, so 2000 millimeter square. So the value of P we can calculate from here, which is equal to 1937.89 Newton. This will be the minimum load at which the column will buckle. So answer is this. Question number 42. The thin rectangular plate of dimension L cross B cross T, it develops a stress field corresponding to an applied bending moment as shown in the figure. We have to find the valid Ayres stress function. We know that the moment which is acting is sagging moment and it is about the axis of z-axis. This type of bending moment, as we know in the case of bending of the beam, will produce a stress along x direction according to this coordinate system. So this type of loading of moment M will produce the stress in x direction. Stress formula due to the bending will be sigma upon y M by I equal to E by R. So the stress in x direction will be equal to M by I into y. And the value of I for this type of bending will be equal to b cube into t divided by 12. So putting the value of sigma xx is equal to m by b cube t 12 by, this would be the stress in the x direction if we solve the Airy's stress function. So we know that the stress in x direction will be equal to partial differentiation of Airy's stress function with respect to y 2 times will give the stress in x direction. So after calculating, the stress should be equal to this. So we have to choose from the option. After differentiating the Airy's stress function from the option, will give the value of stress in x direction. In x direction will be equal to this. So if we take the option B, which is equal to 2m by tb cube into y cube, and differentiate this with respect to y 2 times, sigma xx will be equal to, after differentiating this first time, 2m by tb cube into 3y square. Now if we again differentiate it with respect to y, will give sigma xx equal to 2m tb cube into 6y. After solving, we will get the value of 12m y upon tb cube, which is equal to this. So the option B will be the correct answer. Question number 44. A simply supported beam with overhang which is subjected to uniformly distributed load of Q. We have to find the bending moment at the midpoint of A and B. So let's say at C point. For finding the bending moment at point C, we have to first find the reaction at the support A and B. Let RA and RB be the support reaction. For finding these value of RA and RB, we have to use the equation of the static equilibrium. So the summation of all the forces in vertical direction is equal to 0 for a statically stable beam. So RA plus RB will be equal to uniformly distributed load multiplied by the length L by 2. So we will get 3Q L by 2 RA plus RB. This is the first equation. Now we will use a second equation for the static equilibrium beam, which is summation of moment will be equal to 0. As the point A is a hinge support, so the moment due to the load will be equal to 0 at this point. So taking the moment at point A will be equal to 0. Taking clockwise positive and anti-clockwise negative. So the reactions at support B will produce a anti-clockwise moment at point A RB into the length L, and the uniformly distributed load will produce a clockwise moment about point A, which is equal to, this is the load and it will act at the midpoint. So 1 by 2 into 3 L by 2 will be equal to 0. RB will be equal to 9Q L divided by 8. Now we will put this value into first equation to find the value of RA. We will get the value 3Q L by 8. Now we have to find the bending moment at point C, or the midpoint between A and B. This was the loading RA, which is equal to 3Q L by 8, and RB, which is equal to 9 by 8 QL, and this is the uniformly distributed load of Q. We have to find the bending moment at point C, which is midway between A and B. So the moment at point C will be equal to 3Q L by 8 multiplied by this distance L by 2. Because of this uniformly distributed load, there will be a moment anticlockwise about point C minus Q into L by 2 into L by 4. We will get the moment at point C, which is equal to, after solving this, we will get the value of Q L square by 16, which is sagging moment. It tried to bend the beam into this shape, so the option A will be the correct answer.